25 mile an hour. It's actually, for a 40, almost 42 foot boat LOA, it's surprisingly comfortable. Oh, she's a noisy bridge, that one. There's some trucks going on. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, this is amazing. What a beautiful part of town. Come on in, guys. We're going to show you exactly how the day starts. I've got Jacob to give me a hand, simulating a two-person operation. I've got the drone up in the air so you can see what's happening. And come inside, and the whole day sort of starts in here. Okay. First thing is, we've unlocked the doors, and they concertina all the way across. And we've opened the side door. That is actually a drop-down platform. And I've also opened the door up to the fly bridge, but we won't be using it. I don't think it's super necessary because we've got a sweet helm door, which you're going to see next to the lower helm. And essentially all we've done, come down and have a look here, Nick. So we've basically activated power. So this is your master switch here. Because it's a European boat, they use icons instead of English, but it does actually make sense. The little picture of an engine is, surprise, surprise, an engine. So 1, 2, 3, and then we have lights and house, all of them on after the master has been activated. And then we came down here and we activated master and genset battery switches on. After we did that, we then powered up the genset with this button, and then we turned on the genset. All you have to do is press start. It does the preheat and everything by itself. When you see the genset light activating like so, you can then take power from shore to ship. So what you'll see, we now have the shore power in the off position and the ship, i.e. generator, in the on position. So with that, we were able to spool up the Seakeeper. So you can see it's now about 80% ready. So all we did was turn on the power button, and there's a more user-friendly gauge at the dash. So we will have that available to us running off genset. So what we're now going to do is prepare the boat to leave the dock. So come on the dock, Nick, and let's show everyone. And what I might do is I'll get Jacob to give me a hand after I lower these engines into the water. We're going to retract the shore power using the Glendenning, because that's a system with a bucket down below which actually stows the shore power cable for us. What I always do, particularly if you're doing the Great Loop, I would recommend this. I don't know how floody it gets around America, but in Australia, when we get big water moving, you get trees and debris. So I don't want to drop my motors in the water without understanding that it's clear, because I don't want to jam some logs in between the engine and the boat. So I just come down and have a look around. Everything looks sweet. Now that I've got power activated to the motors, I can drop them down. And then what I'm going to do, well, actually Jacob, because we're going to operate as a team on this one, you can then drop this and then move straight to retrieving the shore power. And then we'll fire up the motors. So I'll drop them down now. Okay, lowering the motors, all clear. So you should just hear them. The sound will change when they get to the bottom. Like that. Okay, so that should be all the way down. No rush, we're still tied up to the dock, so what I'll do, I'll disconnect at the shore, and then Jacob, you can prepare the line, and we will, this looks like one of these ones you just pull out or twist. Okay, twist and pull. Okay, big heavy American lines. This must be for your 110 volt. Okay, and I always keep a moderate amount of tension on these lines when I'm retracting it. I don't know if that's the technical way you're supposed to do it, but it seems to work. Boom, nice and easy. Engines down. So what I'll now do is turn the engines on, and then what I'll do, once the engines are on, Jacob, I'm going to ask you to take care of this aft springer and line. don't have any lines on the port side, and we've just got the poles there, which is fine. And I'm just going to get the midships line. We also, because of the design of this dock, we didn't really need a bow line, so it's fine as it is. So all I'm going to do is, actually, you'll see I've looped that midships line around the cleat, and so I can actually release it from on board the boat just to make it a little bit easier for myself, so I don't have to essentially leave the helm. So we'll just fire it up now. Power on all the keys, check neutral, and single button start. That's pretty no nonsense. You're not going to miss that start up. So what I always do before I leave the dock, I just test all the systems. So I'm just going to test. Okay, I'm engaging. I'm then going to turn the bow thruster on, two double on buttons, and then thrust. Left is left, right is right. And we've also got the joystick available to us. I'm going to use that in a second, so that's no rush on that one. So I think I'm pretty happy to leave the dock, mate. So no rush, all clear. This is a good thing about this design, this passageway and this door. See how I was able to just kind of just duck my head and step out? I got super clear viz through the glass all the way around, so I could check for traffic, communicate to whoever's helping me out on the boat, and then walking down here, if I needed to get off, don't need to rush anything because it's all nice and slow and steady. So Jacob, you start releasing, mate, and I will stay at the helm. And then Nick, once we start to exit the dock, why don't you jump on and follow along with us? Okay, obviously depending where you are, if you are in tide or wind, take the lines off that have the that are into the tide or the pressure, so to speak. Okay. So I hope I explained that right. If the tide's going this way, take off all of these lines and release that line last, the up tide line. That's the one you want to have off. Okay, I'm clear. And jump on, guys. So we've got poles here. We're super tight in this berth, but it is protected. So I'm not particularly worried. And all I need to do is basically just be very gentle, clicking it out, in gear and then out of gear. Jacob's checking my other side. Thank you, mate. And just tell me when I'm all clear of the pen. Yeah. Thank you, mate. And so what we'll do, once we're clear of the pen, we'll just transfer to joystick. And I'm going to now spin the boat. And this is one of the time savers. It's not even time saver, that's the wrong word. It's the stress reliever option on a vessel like this, because maneuverability is quite good with the triple engines and the joystick and the bow thruster. However, if you are in a tidal zone, what you can do, you can stick your engines into the tide, whichever way they're running, or the wind, whatever is stronger, and then just press skyhook, okay? Don't leave the helm immediately, just make sure that the skyhook is operating as it should, because you are going to have some movement. It's not millimeter accurate, but it will then hold the boat in situ and buy us time to relax, tidy up the fenders, tidy up the lines, and focus on our next stage of the journey. Cool, so let's do it. All right, guys, we think we've cleared the dolphins. I think we have. Mummy dolphin did appear up ahead, and a baby dolphin, clearly a baby dolphin around us, but fortunately from up on the flybridge you have pretty good viz. I have checked all the cushions. We've got quite a few on this boat, so I think it is something you want to do before you go fast, and also close the lower helm door. Not that it's going to be an issue with the conditions today. I'm going to give you the fuel flow in gallons per hour. We've got 130 gallons on board, and I'm going to be giving you the speed in miles per hour. I know I normally talk knots, but I'm in America, so we're doing freedom measurements. Come on, let's do this. Get up to 20 miles. So, first thing that's quite noticeable is not much bow raise, not much noticeable bow raise on acceleration. And she kind of pops up on the plane. You know, I'm already at 22, bordering on 23 mile an hour, and I think I can actually drop back my revs a little bit. I'll just settle into that. And I'm seeing a total fuel flow of 37 gallon, but I haven't trimmed out yet, so let's just see. There we go, down to 34 already, and 32 as I trim. And I'm now seeing about 4,000 RPM, 3,980 to 4,000 RPM, giving me 32 gallons consumption and just under 20 mile an hour. And I reckon if we increase that just a smidge, I reckon we'll see a comfortable 21, 22. Motion's really enjoyable from up here. We don't have any sea state to speak of today, so nothing aggressive. That's not going to be possible to test. I know some of you guys get angry when I don't have waves, but you know, I put the request into Mother Nature and she kind of just does whatever she wants. It's not really up to me, I'm afraid. So 22. Total fuel consumption is now up to 38 gallons an hour at 4,300 RPM. I see some wildlife in the water up ahead, so I'm going to track well clear of that, and that also looks like a shoal, so I'm going to stay well over to this side because I don't want to get in that shallow water. I'm still in 12 foot, so looking good, and let's increase our speed now. All right. Coming up to 4,600 RPM, 25 mile an hour. It's actually, for a almost 42 foot boat LOA, it's surprisingly comfortable and it's surprisingly predictable, I guess is a word I could use, in the way she wants to accelerate and decelerate. Shallow water, that was a pelican I saw before. That looks like shallow water. I can see this bank heading out here and I'm following my tracks before I turn, still in 20 foot depth, 26 mile an hour. There's a dolphin, but we're clear, nothing to worry about. How beautiful is this place? I gotta say, I think I prefer the west coast of Florida. This is really nice. Okay, 41 gallons an hour. Just gonna track around this sandbank here, and now I'm going to increase my speed. $29 miles an hour, 42 gallons consumption. Just ensuring I stay in the deep water. And I'm going to track left in a second before I track right. I'm getting 30 miles an hour, 46 gallons consumption at 4,800 RPM. Let's just give this one little blast now. Lots of wind up here. This is proper European style now, summer boating. A little bit of a trimmer, 42 gallons consumption, 36 mile an hour. I might lose my hat if I'm not careful, but I see maximum at 46. 46 consumption, 5,000 RPM. Let's drop it off somewhere sensible because I'm really ripping into the wind now. And we'll put it through a gradual and then a faster turn. Dropping the engines. And we'll just settle back down to mid-20s. 27. I could tighten that turn if I wanted to, One thing I don't notice, just listening to the engines and looking at the RPMs, we're not getting any cavitation on the outer motor as we cut through. So we've got clear water flow going over the motors at the moment. Coming back through my waves now, I'm going to hit them in mid-20s, taking the waves head on. 3, 2, 1. We didn't actually get any water up on board, which is good. And impact was relatively minimal. Now I'm just going to settle down onto a moderate speed. 34 gallons consumption. I hope I was reading the correct total consumption there. 31 now. And a speed return of 22. Surprisingly quiet up here as well. Have zero necessity or desire to stand. It's almost a little bit awkward standing up, to be fair, because then your feet, you're kind of over the steering wheel. I know it's adjustable. I don't know whether you do it. It's so much more comfortable. It feels natural just to sit and drive here. I feel like that's going to be my choice. So let's just dial the speed back a little bit. Just make sure we're clear on the nav. I can see my Pelican up ahead. He hasn't moved. And what I might do is just play with some displacement speeds, but we'll do some proper displacements once we get below 18 gallons consumption. We're now seeing 13 miles an hour coming off the plane for sure, settling down. Yeah, you can really see everything. Great viz to the back of the boat over the starboard side here, so you can see a stern wave. You could also, if you wanted to communicate with people, anyone downstairs could just hang their head out that door and talk to you. Or obviously they can come up the stairs as well. But then dialing that speed way down, I'm now below 10 miles a gallon. But I'm actually going to show you something when we get back into the canals, because I know some of you guys are probably going to be thinking about diesel inboards for the Great Loop, and that's potentially a sensible option for some of you. So what you need to ask yourself, what you need to consider is the pros versus the cons. We can obviously maintain some high cruising speeds on this boat. We can get in super shallow because we're outboards, so we can reach cool places like this. And then there's other things we can do to dial that fuel flow down, which I think I'm going to show you inside the canal to make the dolphin right there. How cool. He's just having fun. Good on you, mate. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, I think there's some other things we could do to dial the fuel flow right down for long trips inside canals. And then the major benefit for a design like this, I see that should be on your mind when deciding what to get. It's having the ability to activate Skyhook. Stick the engines into the tide or into the wind. The boat will stop. The boat will take care of itself, and then you can use that time to tidy up things whilst you prepare to go and into whatever new harbour it is that day. And let's face it, if you're doing the Great Loop, every day you're going to be going to new, potentially strange places you haven't been to before. So there's lots going on. You got a lot of thinking to do. I do this every week because I'm always going to new countries, new waterways. Literally in America, your markers are on the opposite side to the rest of the world. So like you've got to swap everything around in your head. So it helps to have little bits of technology which can settle your mind a little bit, so you can then understand, okay, what have I got to do next? What's the next step in the process to successfully enter this harbour or get it in that berth? And I think that's a major point if you just want to focus on essentially relaxing and having fun, which I hope is your focus. So let's do that. See you in the next bit. All right guys, so I've transferred down to the lower helm and we're just going to proceed under a bridge now. So I've got the helm door open, we've checked the bridge height and our bridge deck clearance, or our height above the water, we're all clear. And basically, when you're in a scenario like this, you just want to understand which way the current is flowing, because if you're going against the current, so i.e. the water is coming to you, then you have to give way to the oncoming traffic because they will have less control. So just bear in mind what that is. If you're not sure, just stick it in neutral, stop the boat and see which way you're drifting. That'll let you know. You can also get an indication when you look at poles, but you do want to understand that before you proceed under a bridge. Then just head for the middle of the bridge span whenever possible, because that's going to be the highest point as opposed to hanging across to the side. And do pay attention, depending on the bridge and where you are, there might be water rushing through the middle if there's any sort of hindrances or blockages on the side. So you might have different conditions as you pass under the bridge as opposed to what you had on the approach to the bridge. So just make sure you got a little bit of power, therefore you'll have steerage and you will be in control. Oh, she's a noisy bridge, that one. Some trucks going on overhead, I think. So yeah, that's it, not much to it. But just remember that current thing, because that'll catch you out in a giveaway scenario, because you do want to make sure the other guy who has less control can stay out of the way and will have maintain right of way.
Go back and forth, what you waiting for? Yeah. Don't act like you don't know the places we could go. It feels so right, blame it on the night. Yeah. There's no denying the energy. Closer, closer, no in between.
All right, guys, we're on the intercoastal now, just enjoying our cruise. And I guess for many of you, you're gonna, oh, look at that, beautiful dolphins, is amazing. What a beautiful part of town. 2 dolphins are just swimming right past my port side, swimming on the surface. Amazing. Fantastic. That's brilliant. The color of the water is lovely today too. Okay, sorry, getting distracted. My focus was to talk to you about the long distance cruise, because some of you are going to be thinking about diesel versus petrol and what sort of efficiency can you gain out of a boat like this on long cruises. And if you are on these intercoastals, many of it is going to be essentially, or parts of it are going to be at idle or no wake speed. So that's what we're doing right now. So I've got the 3 engines engaged at the moment, and they're all 3, I beg your pardon, are at 800 revs, and I've got a total fuel flow of 3 gallons per hour, and with my speed return of about a little bit above 4 miles, so 4.5 miles, call it, through the water. So we can increase that speed, and we're not making any wash whatsoever. That's not offensive, and that's totally fine. I've got pontoon boats overtaking me. So I can increase the speed ever so slightly to about 1100 RPM, and I'm seeing 5.5 and climbing, and we're getting close to 5.7, 5.6, 5.7, still climbing, but our fuel flow is now, it's at 4 gallons per hour, 4 gallons. And it looks like we're gonna hit 6, 5.7 to possibly 6, factoring in tide. And still no wash to worry about. It's not offensive whatsoever. We are now at 1250. Let's get to 1300 RPM. Actually, 1400 seems to be where she's settling. I'm seeing approaching 7 miles an hour. Noise levels are low. Everything's comfortable. I like this lower helm with the opening door just here, and call that a steady 7 mile an hour at 5 gallons. So it's 3, 4, 5 as we seem to go up through the rev range there. Much more, we may start to make some waves. Let's just see. You know what? Even at 1700, I think that's about your cutoff. You can still kind of justify that. I think you can justify 1700 as long as there isn't any swimmers around. And sorry, that's 1750 RPM, and that's giving us 8 miles per hour at 7 gallons. But as soon as we drop it back down Now I'm down at 1,500. I'm seeing 6 gallons. And one thing that you could do is switch one of the engines off. If you wanted to just putter around on 2 engines. I'm not sure if you can just drive on the center engine. I just tried that and I don't think it's possible. I think you need to either pick the 2 center left or center and right. If I'm wrong, please jump in the comments and correct me and tell me how to do it. I don't think I identified how to do that. Obviously that drops out 1/3 of the fuel consumption for a long journey up a canal. But that's just interesting. And then, as we know, she's pretty happy in that 22 mile an hour range. So when you need to eat up the miles, you can. But I think it's time to drop the anchor. I can see some shallow water just out to my starboard side. And we've got a beautiful beach up ahead. So I think that's going to be our destination for the next part of the video. And we will see how this anchor operation works. Just remember, if you are switching a motor off, make sure to turn it back on before you enter final approach to a marina or an anchoring situation, because you won't be able to just drop back and activate your joystick, because it requires all the motors to be powered up and operational. So just, if you're going to do that, just remember that one. So the bow roller is long enough in that you can pretty much just release the anchor as we did today, and it's not going to get interfered with the bow, so it's not too much of a drama. So deploying it was simple, and then we're retrieving it right now. So the only thing, maybe some of you, if you want to do true solo operation, some of you might benefit from a camera. But that's it, not much to it. That's the boat, guys. I hope that was a useful piece of content for you. Hopefully you got a bit of an insight into what life is like on the Antares 12 fly for a day out, and hopefully the Great Loop or an awesome adventure. Would you take this boat on the Great Loop? Would you take something different? What would you do different? Or would you do the coupe instead of the fly? Let me know in the comments. What would you compare this to? I think any of the big volume production builders doing something like this are going to be fair comparison, to be honest. So just keep that mindset. These boats are well priced for what you are getting. The only point I will make is I hope you're on a trajectory to continue on to many more boats after this. And I hope this is one of the many adventures you use on something like this. And the point I'm trying to make is, if you get into something like the Beneteau brand, when you go on to move to the next boat, you'll be able to sell this thing because it's a recognizable brand. If you go and buy something that's not so well known or a little bit less present in your market, and every market's different. This is where you have to talk to your dealer. Don't just listen to some bloke on the internet, because your dealer will have better insights to your local area. I'm just giving you the overall picture, and hopefully with what you discover on these videos, you can arm yourself with the right questions to talk to your dealer. But that does make a difference, because then if you want them to take it back in on trade or you need to sell it yourself, that's a legitimate concern, or it's a legitimate reason for sticking with a big brand, particularly in the times that we're heading into, in my personal opinion, where it's going to be important to be associated with a brand that you can move on. But yeah, fair competition to any of the other major brands. I was impressed and surprised, to be fair, with how pleasant this boat is to drive. Her attitude coming up on plane, very minimal bow acceleration or raising of the bow on acceleration, and quite a predictable thing to drive through the ocean. Yes, we didn't have big waves, but I don't think that's the intention of the mission today. And I hope you're going to be going to nice places like this, and on the crappy days, you're going to be staying in port, basically. But the gyro made a huge difference. It makes life on anchor in the spots that might be exposed to wind and waves still very pleasant. And overall, for the size this is and the price they're offering it at, I think it's a good piece of kit. I'll pop up some competing or a competing boat on the screen right now. Go and have a look. Jump in the comments. Do support the channel. You can check out the Patreon if you wish. Love you lots. See you in the next one.